From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with huge updates about your fourth stimulus check, your third stimulus check, and your fifth stimulus check in a special encore live broadcast only today on this channel. Big exciting news as fourth stimulus is going to the finish line. Those monthly stimulus checks that would be your biggest payout ever on this channel. The huge money that you've been fighting for and hoping for is happening. Those monthly stimulus checks that start in the month of July and would come to your bank account every month thereafter. I have all the breaking details and what unfolded today that could impact that fourth stimulus and what's impacting it tomorrow. Also exciting big news about third stimulus. A series of major developments happened today for money that is yet to be paid, and I'll go over when it's getting paid. Then SSI reform coming under fifth stimulus. All the big details and all the confusion coming from one member of the Biden administration about what he said for the payoffs. The big confusion and the clarity on this channel. It's a big afternoon's recording. I'm excited you're here. Let's get to it. This is Afternoons LALATE. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a big Afternoons of Afternoons LA with big updates about your third stimulus check, your fourth stimulus check, and your fifth stimulus, SSI reform. In this video, I'm going to go over those multiple stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package, the big news about third stimulus and unpaid items that are landing today, and the surprises about fifth stimulus and that SSI reform, and what one member of the Biden administration said today that left a lot of people scratching their head. I have all those details and more. Thank you for joining me on a big Afternoons LA. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member today. You're watching this live, and yes, this is a special live encore broadcast of LA, usually taped in this time slot. How are you? Big exciting news as the President of the United States got third stimulus out several weeks ago, but several items of third stimulus had yet to land, and those items started to land today. First, the shuttered venue grant went live today from SBA. Second, the money of unpaid stimulus checks I reported over the weekend are still landing, and a new wave of third stimulus checks are landing by direct deposit this week. So exciting news. Watch for those direct deposit checks landing this week. Also, the real surprise is under third stimulus, mortgage, rent, and also utilities, and also homeowners assistance has yet to land for third stimulus, but they will be landing in May. Incredible news across the board. As we go into a big afternoon's broadcast, there's a lot of other big news that's happening across the board. And that afternoon's excitement is, of course, fourth stimulus. It's the biggest money you've seen on this channel and the biggest payout you have ever seen. Who gets a fourth stimulus? Let's go over the details right now. This is you. If you make less than $75,000, this is you. You're going to get these monthly fourth stimulus checks. Household, 4 or less, yes. So everyone in the household would get a stimulus check. If you're on SSI or SSDI, Social Security or Rural Benefits, this is you. You would get this as well. The fourth stimulus is also called the Infrastructure Bill or the American Jobs Plan. And those four stimulus checks would go out starting in July. How would they pay and what are the different provisions at issue? It depends if you're looking at the House plan or the Senate plan. Let me first start with the House plan. The House members give you stimulus checks every month, starting at when it becomes law and continuing for 1 year after the pandemic's over. So this could be upwards of 18 months of stimulus checks. The senators, on the other hand, would give you stimulus checks from now through December. So a few less months across the board. And then let's look at the amount of checks and who are the movers and shakers at issue. The movers and shakers are progressives in the House and moderates in the Senate. The monthly stimulus checks are $1,000 a month if you're a House member. If they're senators, the amount is unknown, but it looks like it's going to be something like this. $2,000 a month over 6 months is $12,000. Over 6 months at $1,400 is $8,400. Really incredible, great news. To which viewers have been asking me, is this going to happen? Yes. When? July. Going to get a stimulus check every month? Yes. Going to come in waves? No. They have to send out the stimulus checks every month, so you have to get it that month. You can't get it 2 months later. They would send them out all together because this is a monthly payout system. Is it taxable? No, it's not a taxable event. Does it count towards my benefits? No, it doesn't count towards your benefits. What day would the vote be? Around July 4th, says Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi. When would it be called start its process? When would it start its process? May, because the reconciliation it has to take 2 months. Incredible news across the board. Incredible, great news. And while the president has been trying to do this dog and pony show that he's going to get bipartisan support, he's not going to get bipartisan support. In fact, the bipartisan support has blown up in his face. And in fact, the Republicans have been mocking him today, in fact. A new report released minutes ago reveals that the Republicans are at a retreat now, and they're going to use in the 22 interim elections the lack of the president willing to meet them halfway on this stimulus package specifically as a reason to take seats in the House next year. The President of the United States had asked for $2 trillion plus climate, plus about $1 trillion of that $2 trillion for infrastructure. They're not doing that. So what did they offer instead? 3 weeks ago, they offered no $2 trillion, no climate, and $600 to $800 billion. He said no. And so what did they do? They went backwards. This last few days ago, they said, we'll give you $500 billion instead. So they're setting this up as a reason to win the House in the 2022 midterm elections. Now, here's another reason that this could signal a big battleground for next year, because of the pay-fors. This is something I haven't covered on this channel in a while, but if you were with me in 2020, you heard me talk about what Jerome Powell said about spending. He said that this country can afford a lot more spending and stop worrying about other things, just spend the money. We had heard in 2020 how the Republicans were deficit hawks, didn't want to spend money. Now we see the Republicans were deficit hawks. Now we see the Democrats not wanting to spend money unless they tax for it. Federal Reserve said in last year, you can spend the money. This economy can afford more spending. In fact, we're not spending enough in stimulus. So what is this a big issue about? What will pay for these multiple stimulus checks and the other provisions in the fourth stimulus package? They will be paid for with a series of taxes, of which the president has not been forthcoming about. That comes up under fifth stimulus later in this recording. But let me turn to the great news about these stimulus checks. These stimulus checks are going to the finish line because of a series of events that have unfolded. First, no economic rebounding at the rate we thought was going to happen. Number two, no relief for missing jobs and unemployment at a rate faster than we anticipated. Number three, that the Federal Reserve tomorrow and the day after is going to say, we're not recovered. We need more stimulus. All these four issues signal that we're going to the finish line. It's important to understand as we go into the new day that stimulus is supported based upon economic factors. And if the economy is fully recovered, then we wouldn't have that stimulus. Well, what do we know now? We know first that there's a series of more economic factors coming this Thursday. They are, first, the jobs numbers on Thursday. Second, there's an inflationary report coming out this week. And finally, we have all these corporate earnings reporting this week. Well, all insiders say that the numbers are not going to be particularly that strong. They're going to be where they were before. And that with that, we're getting to the finish line with those monthly stimulus checks. Remember, recovery before December is signaling worries that we're not going to get stimulus checks out. No indication that that's happening anymore. 2 weeks ago, we were worried because we saw unemployment claims drop by 250,000 to only 500,000, worrying people that we could drop another 250,000 to 250,000, which would be our pre-pandemic level. We didn't. We stayed flat, signaling that the economy is not rebounding at a growth rate than initially anticipated. And with that, that signals that fourth stimulus is heading to the finish line. Finally, what is happening with all those other side items from the president? Well, the president had promised to give us that memo from Miguel Cardona about executive order for student loan debt forgiveness. The president had promised us that rent, utilities, food, internet under third stimulus would land quickly after the bill would pass. The president had promised us $5,000 under the EIDL grant under the third stimulus package. And of those three items, none of them have yet to happen. Today, this morning, the shuttered venue grant went live on SBA. It is one of the most confusing messes I have ever seen. The shuttered venue grant finally went live on SBA, but the $5,000 EIDL grant has not gone live. The restaurant grant has not gone live, and that the president's money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance is not going live until May. So why are we talking about fifth stimulus if we haven't even got to third stimulus where it's supposed to be? More about that coming up in the second half of this recording. Also coming up in the second half of this recording is incredible great news about SSI reform. It's finally happening. Again, not from this president, but from the Congress. Now, who gets these monthly fourth stimulus checks? You do. If you make less than $75,000, you do. If you're a household of four or less, you do. If you're on SSI or SSDI, you do. And those stimulus checks could come from those congressional leaders in the House when they have the bill, or could come from the senators during the vote-a-rama. Let me go over all those details now. First, the fourth stimulus package is a two-step process. So first, they have to start the reconciliation process by agreeing upon the structural process, the procedural process. So they would send to the House subcommittee a bill that says, we agree to a recon. There's nothing substantive in there. It's just a procedural bill. Then off to the Senate, then off to the President, then back to the Senate for the substantive part, second half of the process. This is where the president asks for the add-ons to be put in there, climate, infrastructure. It's at that point that those House members could put in those monthly stimulus checks. And those House members may certainly put those monthly stimulus checks in there. They have proposed those stimulus checks to be $1,000 a month over 18 months. They could put it in there at that point, or they could hold off and wait until it gets to the Senate. Remember, the House members want to give you a stimulus check, $2,000 a month for the first month and $1,000 thereafter. And they want to continue this for pandemic plus 1 year. They could put that in before the bill even gets to the Senate. But if they don't, then the senators will take ownership of it. And the senators will give you something like this, $2,000 a month, which over 6 months is $12,000. Or $1,400 a month, which over 6 months is $8,400. It's the single biggest payout you will ever see in the history of this channel. And here's what you need to know. First, people may say, that looks like a lot of money. I didn't see that type of money in 2020. Well, guess what's happening in September? In September, the president's ready to pay $24,000 to 17 newborns. Yeah, if they're getting $24,000, you could certainly get $8,400. Guess what's happening in this July? Yes, he's paying $3,600 to children 17 to newborn that already got a $1,400 stimulus check. So that's going to put them at almost $5,000, $6,000, $5,500. So don't be guilty about the $8,000 for you. It pales in comparison to what else this president's willing to spend. But why has Miguel Cardona not produced that memo? Broadcast media is having a real question about this situation. Remember, the memo is sort of obvious. Leader Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, and others have said Obama forgave student loan debt by executive order. Trump forgave student loan debt by executive order. So why would Biden even question this? Well, Biden said, I'm going to have my education secretary prepare a legal memo to determine whether I can do it. To say what? To say what everyone already knows, that Trump did it and Obama did it? You can do it. What is the issue? Well, it seems sort of obvious what we were going to get 2 weeks ago, but we didn't get the memo. And then another week passed, and we still didn't get the memo. So now, after the president has refused to address the issue of student loan debt forgiveness for now upwards of 4 months, well, actually, it's longer than that. It's since October of last year when he became president. And now, after tasking his education secretary to prepare the memo hasn't been produced. This is causing a reoccurring theme among Democrats in the House and Senate who are not happy with the president saying he's going to do something and then doesn't do it. And what are they starting to do? They're starting to push back. And here's an example of how they push back. This was the letter they wrote just days ago demanding for SSI reform and saying, look, you put it, footnote here, footnote there, in your transition papers. You put it in your campaign papers. You promised it. Where is it? We didn't see it in third stimulus. We don't hear it in fourth stimulus. And we haven't seen it in fifth stimulus. So guess what? We're putting it in fifth stimulus. And if you don't put it in there, we're putting it in there. And here are all the signatures. Now, what you need to understand is that the tone of this letter is anything like I've seen before among Democrats versus Democrats. The tone of the letter is, you said it, here's the reference time, you didn't do it. You said it, you didn't do it, we're putting it in there. It's a little bit more aggressive. So they seem to have an issue about what's going on. I'll be going over the incredible great news about that SSI reform right after the commercial break. You want to stay with me. It's great news across the board. Meantime, I'll turn to the surprising developing details about what that member of the Biden administration said about capital gains and why capital gains may take a strange turn under fifth stimulus. Stay with me. I'll be back after the commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on LALATE with afternoons going into evenings. You're currently watching the second afternoon's LALATE show live in a special live broadcast. We go into evenings LALATE 2 hours after this, and that is going to be a big broadcast. You don't want to miss that. Then 2 hours after that is LA Late Night. How are you? It's a great afternoon. If you're just joining me, make sure you subscribe. Today is day one of our second year, and you don't want to miss a single minute. So subscribe to the most comprehensive, the most accurate, the most informative, the most innovative, and the most fun channel there is in the financial news space. Accuracy is of importance when you're dealing with issues like this, and you want it the most accurate to the moment information across the board. Also, like this video. Let's try to do 3,000 likes. If you're in the live chat right now, hit that like button right now if you forgot to do it. Also, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Get access to the PDFs that'll change your financial freedom by the minute. All right, let's get to the incredible great news about the SSI and SSDI reform that is in the fifth stimulus. So the SSI and SSDI reform is coming from those Democrats, and it involves a series of items. First, let me broadly go over them, and then I'll explain them in detail. Benefit levels will be increased, asset limits will be raised, inflationary benchmark will be applied, and then the marriage penalty will be removed, and the income exclusion will be removed. Let's go over all those details right now. First, the most important thing is that your check will be bigger. Can't make it any simpler than that. You're going to get a new check, and that new check will be your new amount. Goodbye, current amount. Hello, new check. The new check amount will be big, bold, and beautiful, and you'll never go lower than that check. But you will have a reassessment every December, as you are currently, with a new benchmark. And that new benchmark is inflation. Your current benchmark is COLA, C-O-L-A. It doesn't move. Milk, eggs, gasoline goes up, and COLA's flat. That's going away. You're going to be tied to inflation, which is just incredible. Inflation, it happens 1 to 4% annually. The prediction for the next few years, 2 to 3%. So your benefits will go up 2 to 3%. I am talking about SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits. Everyone and everyone. If you have multiple benefits, then all your benefits are going up. And once they go up, they don't get smaller. They just go up or stay the same. Then the asset cap will be gone, thrown in the garbage can. It dates back to 1984. It's going away. It says, for some of you, you can't keep more than $3,000 in the bank account. Then the income exclusion going away, dates back to 1962. Says you can't work. They don't want that. You don't want that. If you do want to work, you want to work. And so guess what? They're going to let you work if you want to. $1,000 to $2,000 approximately per month. You can make it, save it, and you can still stay on benefits. Finally, if you are suffering from the marriage penalty, you know what it is. They're getting rid of it. Incredible great news across the board. To which you may be asking, when am I going to see this actual money? You would see it in the fall. Let's go over the details. Fifth stimulus, which is called the America Family Plan, which the president's going to debut in the next 48 hours, starts in September. We'll have to go by recon, and by recon, it will be done by the last 2 months of the year. And the benefits payments, you'll see the impact the last 2 years of 2021. Those Republicans had a conference in the last few days, and they really poked fun at the president's inability to really find a common ground for purposes of the fourth stimulus, which we started this recording about, those monthly stimulus checks, the July stimulus bill that will be done between now and the month of July. But imagine what they're thinking when we talk about the fifth stimulus package. That's what I was just referring to with this fall. The fifth stimulus package will have a $1 trillion price tag. So what will be used to pay for the $1 trillion? Well, first, Federal Reserve last year says we don't have to have things pay for these things. The federal economy can afford more debt. This is the middle of a pandemic, and that debt is warranted, and that we can carry that debt. But that's not what happened today. In a very, very bizarre exchange today, the president decided it would make sense for him to roll out this person, his chief economic council member. Now, everything about what I'm about to tell you makes zero sense to me. The manner in which it was done, the approach to it, and similar. It doesn't show well thought out by this White House. First, what's the fifth stimulus? That's fourth stimulus. What's fifth stimulus? Family. Okay. What are you doing with the family? Helping it. How? No one knows what the fifth stimulus is. No one knows what the fifth stimulus package is. Do you know what it is? I don't know what it is. Well, we do know about the $24,000 for the 17 to newborns, which is really not a good item to talk about because no one really likes hearing about that. Hearing that young kids are getting $24,000 when we're not getting $24,000. But what else is in the fifth stimulus? No one knows. So why not tell us what's in the fifth stimulus with incredible detail before we talk about the bad part, which is taxing people to pay for something we don't know what it is yet? Well, that's what the president did today. Not particularly well thought out. What you do if you're doing a dog and pony show is you introduce the ponies before you show the bad part of the circus. And that's not what he did. He started to talk about the bad part of the dog and pony show before we had the dog and pony show. And that's what started today. and the reason why it started today was because the president was hit by leaks. Last Thursday, Bloomberg ran a leak that the fifth stimulus package, that we don't know what it is about, will carry capital gains taxes in it. Wall Street crashed. Cryptocurrency crashed because the White House hadn't told us about this, and that the White House hadn't told us how it works. So what did the White House do today? It should have avoided the subject altogether, and it should have just waited to tell us what's in the fifth stimulus, but instead they rolled out this guy. This guy, who is he? He's a 40-year-old, never hardly worked a day in his life. He's been in politics his entire life, administration after administration after administration, and he rolled out and said, hey, don't worry about the fifth stimulus package. It has capital gains taxes in there, but 99% of you won't be impacted by it. To which the question is, what's the capital gains tax then? Well, I'm not going to tell you. We haven't made up our mind. What do you mean you haven't made up your mind? You said it doesn't impact me. Well, how do you know if you have made up your mind? Well, we haven't made up our mind, but it does not affect 99% of you. Well, if it doesn't affect us, then how does it raise $1 trillion? Because you're trying to use it to raise $1 trillion to pay for the stimulus package. To which he said, well, you don't need to worry about capital gains taxes because almost all Americans are W-2 employees. What? What do you mean all Americans? Nearly all Americans are W-2 employees. Who is this guy? He went to Yale. Sort of explains it all. First of all, says that most Americans are W-2 employees and will not feel the impact of capital gains taxes. I mean, there's so much wrong in that sentence. He's basically saying that that everyone's a W-2, which we're not. Americans are not all W-2s. Tell that to every electrician, plumber, and construction worker parked on the street outside. Tell that to every gardener or every cook that you meet on the street corner. Americans are not all predominantly W-2s. But let's assume they were. Then they would not be trading stocks. They would not be selling homes. They would not be selling cars. Guess what? People make money doing things besides their W-2. They also sell their cars and sell their homes and sell their antiques and do Amazon websites and things like that. So the notion that people don't buy and sell things is just sort of bizarre that someone would even say that. Here is what a #1 financial broadcast channel did today. They analyzed it for the purpose of stock ownership only, just stock ownership, not even crypto, not even real estate, just stock ownership. They said 25% of Americans will be impacted. So I don't know where this person came from. This is not good press. If you want to debut fifth stimulus to us, tell us what's in it. Tell us what the numbers are. At least Nancy Pelosi would have given us superlatives with blowing wind and wonderful hillsides and wonderful green meadows. We're not even giving that. We're delivering some taxes, but you're not going to be impacted on it. Not particularly clear. And as we go into a big evening's LA, the president is really not staying on point. What the Republicans are now salivating about is that, one, he had a third stimulus package that no Republican supported. He's going to have a fourth stimulus package that no Republicans are going to support. He's going to have a fifth stimulus package that no Republicans are going to support. And he's going to reportedly, if possibly true, touch corporate tax, inheritance tax, and capital gains tax, all in the matter of 6 months. Ooh, okay. Don't change the furniture too quickly at the White House. Just really quite surprising. Here's what you need to know. As we go into a big evenings LA, fourth stimulus is going to get to the finish line. That fourth stimulus is going to happen. But the question is, why is it getting overshadowed by something that hasn't even been written? Remember, fourth stimulus has not been written. It goes to the House floor, as I described earlier in this video. It goes to the House floor and then it's written. So why are we talking about fifth stimulus if fourth stimulus hasn't been written? Why are we talking about fifth stimulus if fourth stimulus hasn't even gone to recon? Why are we talking about fifth stimulus if mortgage, rent, and utilities has not gone live from third stimulus? If EIDL grant of $5,000 has not gone live? If the restaurant grant has not gone live? Why are we talking about fifth stimulus, which is almost heading into almost the end of this year, start of next year, if we haven't paid out everything on third stimulus and we haven't even written the bill on fourth stimulus? Too much dog and pony show? If you notice some sort of change on this channel lately, you'll see one noticeable change. I'm not going to keep on running publicity videos from the White House that tells us how wonderful infrastructure is. I love infrastructure. You love infrastructure. The videos have no informative basis to them. They're not informative videos. People that sit behind a chair and say, I love infrastructure and God bless you, that's not an informative video. And ultimately, people start to wonder, why are videos being rolled out from the White House if they're not informative and they're just to say how wonderful something is? Interesting. I'll have more updates for you coming up on Evenings LA. Remember, in 2 hours from now, the excitement continues. And that will go over the big updates that happened from Tesla minutes ago. Oh boy, you're going to wait to see what happened with Tesla. And I don't mean Saturday Night Live. I do not mean Saturday Night Live. The excitement continues with this channel in 2 hours from now, and I look forward for you to tune in. Evenings LA is in 2 hours from now, and then we go into LA Late Night. And with that, make sure you subscribe. I want you to be part of this channel as we go into our second year. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, and stay with LA for more.